Good morning. Oh, excuse me. There's one more setting I forgot to fix. That should look better. Doing this by myself again today. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. If you know me very well, you know that's not all terribly uncommon for me to have to fix something like that. Hi, my name is Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Hebron Baptist Church. And I wanted to let you guys benefit a little bit. This semester started doctoral work. I've got a seminar coming up in a few weeks. And part of my reading for that seminar was a book called Desiring the Kingdom by James K.A. Smith. If you're interested in the book, I think I put a link in the description of the video, and I'll try to share it. If it's not real clear, I'll look at it here in a little bit. But anyway, one of the things that struck me about this book was a conversation about the word liturgy. Now, you've heard that word liturgy maybe before. Usually, if you've heard it, maybe you've never heard of it, but if you've heard that word before, usually it's referring to the order of service. And usually, specifically at a church where that is very important in that tradition. So I think about the Roman Catholic Church that has the Mass, that is a designated order of service that they do the same thing every time, every week. Or just other, even Protestant, but high churches that have a specified order of service. Now, if you attended our church services on campus before COVID, we did have something very much along the same line. We've shortened that and made it much simpler now because we're having, because of all the other things we're having to deal with. But so if you've heard liturgy before, that's the word, that's how you've heard it referred. Well, James Smith refers in his book, talking about liturgy, he uses the word to refer to practices that we have or do in our everyday lives that form us into a particular kind of people. And he uses several examples of how this happens. The one that sticks out that maybe most of our folks that are watching it in the States, watching this in the U.S. can appreciate, and that is the practice growing up, and if you went to public school, maybe even private school, every morning at the beginning of the school day, somebody comes over the intercom or on the TV or whatever and says, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And everyone throughout the building stands up, puts their hands over their heart, and says the Pledge of Allegiance. Every kid grew up doing that every single day, school day of their life. That, he describes, is a liturgy. It is a practice that is used to form our students into patriotic citizens. That was done on purpose every day, not just to proclaim that pledge, but to actually form the hearts of our kids to stand behind that pledge, to believe it, to practice their allegiance to the United States of America, for better or for worse. And we have all kinds of practices like that in our lives. He describes several, and another one is the liturgy of going to the mall. It's funny, in the book he describes it from the perspective of what he calls a Martian anthropologist, which is like a space alien who comes to the Earth and experiences this for the first time and what an outsider's approach looks like to this space alien. And he goes to the mall, and he doesn't say that he's talking about the mall, but he just starts describing this experience from a Martian perspective. And it sounds an awful lot like a church when you think about it. And he says, so going to the mall is a liturgy. And marketers understand that. And marketers understand that concept of liturgy. And so they use your experience to shape you into the kind of consumer that they want that's going to ultimately buy all their stuff. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because for one, I myself and many of you watching this probably think that you are not maybe being a part of liturgy, unless you're a Roman Catholic or somebody who goes to a high church type worship service. You would say, I don't participate in liturgies. But according to James Smith's definition, you do. All of us do. All of us participate in practices that shape us into a particular kind of person, for good or for evil. So what I want to do over the next week or two, while the cat's away, Pastor Sean is at home with the new baby, and so over the next few weeks, or before he comes back and we start doing our normal programming, so to speak, I'm going to be walking through some of our practices at Hebron Baptist Church, why we do them, and what sort of person we hope we form as we do them. I want to look at a couple of Bible texts before we're done for today to kind of introduce this idea. One is James chapter 1, verse 27. He says, "Pure and undefiled religion before God the Father is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and here's what concerns us right now, to keep oneself unstained from the world." So the world is clearly trying to stain us, and religion then, according to James, is the practice of trying to refrain from that, try to escape that. So that's what we're going to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about some of what the world's practices bring in. Maybe that might be a valuable conversation. But then in 1 John chapter 3, starting in verse 4, it says, "Everyone who commits sin practices lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. You know that he was revealed so that he might take away sins, and there is no sin in him. Everyone who remains in him does not sin. Everyone who sins has not seen him or known him. Children, let no one deceive you. The one who is right is the one who does what is right." So let me say that again. "The one who does what is right is righteous, just as he is righteous. The one who commits sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning. The Son of God was revealed for this purpose, to destroy the devil's works. Everyone who has been born of God does not sin because his seed remains in him. He is not able to sin because he has been born of God. This is how God's children and the devil's children become obvious. Whoever does not do what is right is not of God, especially the one who does not love his brother or sister." So over the next few days and maybe weeks, we're going to walk through these practices. We might walk through some practices that we're going to try to avoid, but predominantly, we're going to talk about the practices that we already participate in as a church together, specifically on Sunday morning, and that experience, so that you understand why we do what we do, and you understand the goal of the kind of person that we're trying to form by our practices here at Hebron Baptist. Now, if you've not made it a practice to be a part of a local church, to come into gathered worship, we would invite you to join us, to come in and participate in worship with us, both on campus on Sunday mornings. We're meeting in the midst of as of right now, we're meeting in person in the midst of this pandemic with some special care to maintain social distancing. So if you want to participate in our live services, let me encourage you to make a reservation. You can go to hebronbaptist.org. You can email us, wrong button. You can email us at reservations@hebronbaptist.org and get a link to make reservations. Now, we don't normally do this, but we do this now in light of COVID-19 to prepare our building with social distancing, both in the sanctuary and downstairs in the fellowship hall. Any questions about attending Sunday morning, go to reservations and send an email to us at reservations@hebronbaptist.org. If you'd like more information on our church, or if you'd like to connect with us, you can check out our website, which is, as you might guess, hebronbaptist.org. On our front page, if there's some prayer needs that you might have, click that link for need prayer. If you don't quite understand this whole Christianity thing, let me encourage you to click Need Hope, and that will take you to a video where it'll kind of explain what we teach and what we live by a little bit more. And then if you need help during this crisis, there's a Need Help tab as well on our website. But other than that, thank you for joining me this morning, and join me over these next few days and weeks as we explore some of our practices as a church, why we do them, and what we hope to accomplish with them in changing all of us to be more in the image of God, in the image of Christ, his Son. Thank you for joining us, and have a great week.